So git merge. So this is the feature we have discussed. So in the master branch, initially we have one commit M1, and then we are moving into the feature branch, and we have done one commit F1. Okay, and later we are again moving into the master branch, and we have added some more content M2. Okay, so we are merging the changes of master branch into the feature branch. Okay, so this is the part. So when you do here, it is showing the same process, whatever we did. When you check the git log here, okay, it is showing the similar process. Okay, file M1. Okay, next we are going to feature branch F1 and again M2, and it is also showing the merge commit message. Okay, as well as the commit ID also. Whereas if you do the git rebase, it won't. It is not like that. So first it is showing the master branch related commits, and on the top it is showing the feature branch commits. It is showing the feature branch commits. That means what you understand by this, okay, even though you done the changes, you done the commits, okay, after the F1 is added, okay, so just compare these two. So here first what we did, first we added F1 M1, and then we added F1, and then we added M2. This is the actual process we did. When you do the git merge, so this is merge commit message it is asking. But when you do the git rebase, what happened? First M1 it is added. So next it is showing the master branch commits, it is showing aside, and the feature branch commits which are showing here. F1 is added. Okay, what do you understand by this means? So whatever the commits we have done, okay, so that the commit will be added at the edge of the master branch. So that is the second image that I have shown. This is the second image. So these are the so these four, the first four. So these up to this part is the M2. This is the M1 commit message. This is the M2 file committing. Okay, whereas so these three, okay, so these three are the feature branch creation and F1, and this is a final committal. So therefore, what happened? Whatever the commit with the help of git rebase, the git merging of the branch that will be added. It means the feature branch is shifted to the tip of the master branch. The entire feature branch is shifted to the tip of the master branch. Therefore, if you see, this is a linear flow. This is a linear flow. So this is a non-linear flow, whereas git rebase, git merge, it is a non-linear flow. Okay, this is a non-linear flow, whereas git rebase, it is a linear flow. Okay, so this is a very, very important interview question. What is the difference between git merge and git rebase? So here you can explain these three differences. So what is the first difference? It is a non-destructive operation. So what's the meaning of non-destructive operation? Non-destructive operation means it won't destruct the branches. So whatever the branches which are created, that will be same as it is. When you do here git merge, so whatever the branches you have created, that will be remains same at the same place. There is no destruction. Whereas here what happened? Moves the entire feature branch to begin on the tip of master branch. So you can see in the image also. So this is the entire feature branch, this part. The green color is entire feature branch that is shifted to the tip of the master branch. That is a difference. That is a point into understanding the git rebase. Next, second point, existing branches are not changing anyway. So there is no changing in the existing branches. So rewrite the project history so we get much cleaner and a linear project history. So that is we have seen in here, right? So this is a linear project history. Okay, that is you can understand here. Next one, create a merge commit in the feature branch, and it won't create any merge description. Okay, it is asking for the merge commit description. It is asking. It won't ask any merge description. So that is the major differences between git merge and git rebase. Understood? So any doubts in this topic? Git merge and git rebase is very, very important interview question. Definitely they will be asked this question. Git merge and git rebase, and what is meant by merge conflict? How do you resolve the merge conflict issues? Okay, so definitely asking these questions in the interviews. Any doubts in this topic?
Nothing, sir. Very clear, sir.
Shall I continue with the next topic? Stash, git stash.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So git stash. Stash means it is nothing but a memory. It is nothing but a memory. Okay. When this stash is used, okay, this stash concept is used when the files are there in the staging area. So stash memory is used to save the files temporarily from staging area. Okay, I'll explain that now. So I'm just clearing the screen here. I'm just moving into the master branch. Okay, you can also work here, no problem. So here what I'm doing, I'm just checking the git status. So all are clear. So currently you are working on one file. Okay, so let us take F2. So we have added this file. So now the file is under staging area, right? So if you do the git status, this file is under F2. Or currently you are working on a new file even. Okay, currently you are working in a new file. So let us take, so that's F2, that's F3. I've created a new file, that's F3. So if you do the git status. Now there are two files, F2 and F3, two files will be there. I want to, suddenly one person is came, maybe your senior or developer or any other person, tech lead. So he asked you to do these changes in some other files, okay, and do the git push. Okay, he asked you to do some other changes and do the git push. Then what you need to do? So you need to stop this process. Whatever you are currently you are working, you need to stop this process. Okay, if it is if you just started this process, you can easily remember. So what are the content you have changed? But you are at the middle of the work, then it is very difficult to start the entire process, right? Okay, if you are at the starting, then it is very easy to remember what are the changes that you made recently. But if you are at the middle of the process of the edition, so then it is very difficult to remember entire thing. Okay, or you cannot revert all the changes. Okay, you cannot revert all the changes. So then what you need to do? You need to save this file. You need to save this file in a memory. Okay, that memory is called as stash memory. That memory is called as stash memory. Okay, how do you save these files into the stash memory? So to save the files into the stash memory, first you need to move the files into the staging area. That is a very, very first prerequisite. The primary condition is first you need to move the files into the staging area. Okay, therefore I'm just moving the file F3 into the staging area. Now the two files are there in the staging area. Now you should not commit these files because the work is not completed. The work is not completed. If the work is completed, then you can push the files into the repo. But your work is not completed. If you pull the changes, okay, if you do the git pull, so what happened? So these changes may be gone. These changes may be gone. Again, you need to rework entire thing. Okay, so because your developer is asked to take the changes from the repo. Okay, that means you need to do the git pull and take the changes from the repo, and you need to do some deployment. At the time, what happened? So whatever the files you are executing currently, you are working these two files. That work will be gone. So instead of doing that, so what we are doing, we are moving the files into the staging area, and we are saving the files into, we are storing the files in the one memory called as stash memory. Okay, so for that the command is git stash. Git stash command is save. Git stash save. Click on enter. Now see here, saved working directory and index state WIP, work in progress on feature, on the feature branch. So this is the ID, stash ID. So file 1 F1 is added. Okay, that means so this is the message you are seeing. That means these two files are now under stash memory. Okay, how do you see these files? How do you see these files? So for that the command is git stash list. See here, git stash list. So this is the stash ID. Stash at the rate of, so flower brackets 0. So work in progress on feature branch with this ID. Okay, so these two files you are added. Okay, these two files you are under staging. Okay, now you can do the git pull now. You can do the git pull and you can do the changes. Okay, now after the git pull has been, after your work is completed, again you want to work on the two files. For that, so what is the command? So there are two commands to recover the files. Okay, there are two commands to get back these files from the stash memory. There are two ways to get these two files from the stash memory. One is git stash apply. Other command is git stash pop. Git stash apply and git stash pop. So what is the difference between these two commands? So the difference between these two commands is, okay, so git stash apply, this command will recover the files from the staging area, from the stash memory, as well as it keeps under the stash memory. Okay, so git stash apply, whenever you do the git stash apply, what it can do, it is recovering the files from the stash memory, and again it is showing under the git stash list. It is showing in the git stash memory. That means at two places these files will be there. Whenever you do the git stash pop, so what happened? It is recovering the files from the stash memory and delete the files from the stash memory. Understood the difference between the git stash apply and git stash pop? Whenever you do the git stash apply, it is recover the files from the stash memory and keep the files under stash memory. Whenever you do the git stash pop, it recover the files from the stash memory and delete the files from the stash memory. Okay, that is the difference. So first I will show the two ways. So first git stash apply I'm doing. So now the files are under now staging area. If you do the git status, so see the two files are under staging now. Now you can work on these two files. Okay, and again you can push the changes to the repo. If you do the git stash list, see again this will be present. Okay, under the list, under the stash memory also, these file content will be there. Okay, under the stash memory also, these files will be present. Whenever you do the git stash pop, now, so here what happened? It is recovering the two files, but what happened? Dropped reference. That means this stash ID will be deleted. If you do the git stash list, there is no list because you have deleted that one by using the command pop. If you do apply, the files will be there both in your staging area as well as in the stash memory. Whenever you do the git stash pop, the files are available only under staging area, not under stash memory. Okay, so this is about git stash. So we can do multiple stash IDs. We can create multiple stash IDs. Let us take here and again creating, so git stash apply. So git stash save. So here one git stash is created, git stash list. I'm now creating two more files or one more file F3. Okay, so I'm just moving this file into the staging area F4. Now if you observe here git status, only one file is there. Why? The remaining two files are under stash memory. Those are not visible under staging area. Those two files are not visible under staging area whenever you execute git stash save command. Okay, whenever you execute git stash save command, those two files, the files which are there under staging area, are moved into the stash memory. Whenever you do git stash apply or git stash pop, then only those files are again coming back to the staging area. Here I have added only one file F4, and that file F4 is now under staging area, and now I am moving this file into the stash memory. Git stash save. Now what happened? Now this file F4 is now stored in the stash memory with different ID. So before that, just do the git status. So see here that file F4 is not available under staging area. Now do the git stash list. Now you are seeing the two IDs, stash at the rate of 0, stash at the rate of 1. Which one is the latest one? So by default, stash at the rate of 0 is the default one. Default one means, so the recent change is F4. So that file will be under this memory, stash this ID. And whatever the remaining, the other files, F2, F3, right? So F2, F3, those two are under the other ID, stash at the rate of 1. Okay, if you want to list out the files under that one, okay, let us execute this command, git stash show -p. Okay, so with stash ID, this one. See here, it is showing the file F4. It is showing the file F4. It is showing the file F4. That is, F4 is the file you are recently added. So if you give the stash ID 1, see here the files F2, F3. Files F2, F3 are added. So git stash show is the command used to list out the files which are under staging area. Actually, the files under staging area are now moved into the stash memory, right? If you want to see the files which are under the stash memory, you need to specify with the stash ID. So by default, stash at the rate of 0 ID that will contain the recent changes. Recent changes that will be there. Okay, so if you want to again move the files back into the staging area, the command is git stash. You can do two ways. One is apply. Okay, so if you click on apply, so then it will move all the files into the staging area. Or if you want to move only specific with stash ID, so then you can give the stash ID here. Then only that particular file that will be under staging area. Now, if you observe here, git status, only F4 is under staging area. Remaining F2, F3 are not under staging area. Still they are in the stash memory only. Again, if you execute the same command by with stash ID 1, so now again those two files will be now under staging area. Now git status, you can see the three files which are under staging area. But still, if you see here under stash list, those two stash IDs will present because you have done the apply. You have done the apply, not the pop. Okay, if you do the pop, what happened? It will be deleted. Okay, so we have one more command to delete the stash IDs individually. Okay, the command to delete the stash ID is this one: git stash drop. Git stash drop. Give the stash ID. So this is the stash ID you can give. So what happened? So this memory, okay, this stash ID will be deleted from the memory. So see here, so dropped from the dropped. This is stash ID from the memory. Similarly, you can do here for 0 also. So this ID also deleted from the memory. If you do git stash list, you are not able to see any these IDs. So what do you understand from these commands? One is apply, other one is pop, other one is drop. So these three commands are interlinked. That means pop is nothing but drop plus apply. So what is the pop command it is doing? It is restoring the files from memory as well as deleting the ID. Okay, deleting the stash memory ID as well as it is restoring the files. A single pop command, it can do drop as well as restoring. So if you want to do individually, you can apply. First you need to apply. Whenever you do the apply, so then what happened? The files will be in the staging area. Now again you need to execute the drop command for deleting of this these stash IDs. So instead of the two steps, okay, by using the git stash pop command, we can execute, okay, we can execute the restoring files as well as deleting the stash IDs. Clear? So this is the stash memory. So git stash list, it is list out the all stash memories, that is IDs. So git stash save. So you can give the description also along with this. Okay, the description will be given along with the command also will be the description. Okay, so latest files can occupy the stash ID. So under this stash ID 0, the previous files will be moved from stash at the rate of 1, so 2, 3 like that. Recent changes will be occupy the first ID. Next, to see the files under any stash ID. So this is the command: git stash show -p. Okay, stash ID is the command to list out the files with content from the stash memory. You can see the content of the file also. So next, git stash apply. That is the command you have seen. Okay, git stash drop. So it is for restoring the files to the staging area without a drop. Okay, so that means still in the memory, this ID will be present. So this is to delete the ID drop command. So pop command is used to restoring the files into the staging area as well as delete the that stash memory ID. So therefore, pop is equal to apply plus drop. Clear? This is about the stash memory. Understood? Any doubts in the stash memory topic?
No, sir. Continue, sir.
You can practice this number of times, you can understand clearly. So where this stash memory is used, that is one important point. The interviews also sometimes asking this question. They are asking a scenario. Okay, maybe they directly ask this question directly, or they maybe ask some scenario. For example, currently you are working on some file, and suddenly one developer or some test lead asked you to take the changes from the repo and execute do the deployment. So only what happened to the current changes that you are working. Okay, so that like that they may be asked the question. So for that you need to say, so first I need to save the existing work into the stash memory by using the git stash save command, and I will do the git pull, and then I will do the deployment, and then again I'll take back my changes from the memory, and I'll work on my current what I'm doing. So like that you can answer. Okay, so it's a very important point also. Okay, so after this stash memory, the important topic, one more. So tags. So tags means generally you know that the meaning of tag. So each and every software has a tag. You can call the tag as a version. You can call that tag as version. Okay, so generally there are. I'll explain here an example. So for example, generally any software has 3 numbers in the version. Any software you can take 3 numbers in the version. Sometimes 4 numbers also will be there in the versions. The first number is nothing but the version, main version number. Second X, that is second number, it is showing the feature pack. Third X is representing the fixed pack. And fourth X, that is showing the emergency fix. Emergency fix, or you can call this as a hot fix. So, for example, let us take the version 1.0.0 or 1.0.0. Here, the starting one. So, developers have developed some code and they build a software they release into the market with the starting version 1.0.0. Okay, after this, okay, so customers are identified they want some more features. They want some more features. So then what he can do, the developers are again working on the code and they release a new version by adding the features. By adding the features to the same software. So 1.1.0. Because they added the features to the existing version only. Therefore 1.1.0 only. And some in that new features, so let us take some customers are observed some bugs. So developers are required to fix those bugs. So then again they fix the bugs and they release the version again. So with the name 1.1.1. Like that. Okay. So this is the way. If you take any software, okay, if you take any software, so these 3 are compulsory. The first one is the main version number, and second one is a features pack, and third one is the fixed pack. For example, if you take the notepad also, so here it is giving the version name here. So here, okay, if you take any tool or any software, okay, it is showing some version. Okay, in the about section you can see the version. So that version is representing. Okay, here let us see the features, or let us take a Tomcat. Tomcat. Take the Tomcat tool. in the Apache Tomcat. So here, so 8.5.72, 72. That is the first one is the main release, main version. Second one is the feature pack. Third one is the fixed pack. Any bugs are there, those are fixed and they released again. So, and next one, the fourth one, again we have one more is the right 1.1.1.1. Let us take. So for this, okay, the last one, it is showing the emergency fix or hot fix. What is the meaning of this? So here there is no errors in the software. There is no errors in the software. So software is working fine, but only few customers which are getting some issues with working the software. Okay, only few customers which are getting some issues while working with the software. So the developers are again checking with those selective customers and they are fixing the issue and they released again. So that we are given in the last section, that is 1.1.1. This one. Understood, right? So this is the way in real time. Okay, the versioning will be there. Versioning concept will be there. Okay, so developers, once they completed their development, they are pushing the entire code in the form of release, by appending the tags. Okay, by appending the tags. Let us take the initial release is 1.0.0. They are giving some name to that release. Let us take release. So 1.0.0. So with this name, they are pushing into the repo. With this name, they are pushing the this release into the repo. So for that, we are using the tags concept. So after adding the features to the code, we need to release the code with the tag names. Okay, so for this commands are git tag. So git tag is nothing but it is used to list out all the tags. Okay, next git tag, so tag name. So this is the main command to create the tag. So just here I'm currently in the feature branch. So let us take here. I have total 6 files are there. So all these 6 files, let us take all these are binary files which are relating to the software. Let us take all these are binary files which are relating to the software. Now I want to pack all the files into a single file. So for that I'm using git tag. So release. Okay, so for that for better understanding, I'll check out into the master branch. Here I'm also able to see all the 5 files status. So we are committing these files. Files are added. Now see here status. It's there. Now 5 files are there in the master branch. Now I want to pack these files. Into a single package. So for that I'm using the command git tag. I want to give the release name. So let us take the release name is 1.0.0. Now the release is created. So now git tag is the command to show the list of releases. So release 1.0.0. Now I want to push this release into the remote repo. Okay, so let us take. So this is my remote branch. Okay, under this, currently I'm under test repo folder. Currently I'm in the master branch. I have only 2 files in the master branch. Okay, in the feature branch also I have 2 files. Now I'm pushing the changes into the master branch now. Git push. No such configuration. Okay, git remote. Here it is not added. Okay. Why this is not added means because this repo is created in our local, right? Okay, this repo is created in our local. This is not belong to any other remote repo. For that, you need to add the repo first. Okay, you need to connect this local repo with the remote repo. So for that, here also they are given the commands. So what given? Git remote add, so name URL. Okay, he's asking to specify the URL from the command line or configure a remote repository using this command. So we are adding that remote repository. So git remote add. So what is the remote URL? So this is the remote URL, right? This is the remote URL I'm giving here. Okay. This is the remote URL. Let's check this. Not this one. So for this, for setting the URL, we have a command. So these commands also will explain. So git remote set URL origin. So this is the okay. So this is the command for setting the URL of origin. Okay. Uh, Once again, we will be connect back because the time is over. Okay, we will connect again on the same link.